Hello and welcome to our presentation done by Group 4, Jana, Dario and Angela. The aim of this analysis and review is to identify the best fit solution for Health Insurance Co, or HIC, for the purpose of fulfilling your objective to increase market share in a new and high growth market sector, long stay and overseas visitors.
HIC is an insurance company with a long history in Australia. It's a trusted service provider, having been built out of a government entity. It's publicly listed and beholden to shareholder confidence both within the local and global market. Around 20% of Australians are members, and you have a high visibility in the corporate branding space. It's worth noting that you value diversity employment, which flows into this particular target market we're trying to increase market share within. It's a target market which has no mandatory requirement to take out a health insurance policy, and thus HIC needs to be able to leverage the market to compel to purchase. And furthermore, we're looking at a target market which is international and potentially a younger cohort than the market which is presently engaged with HIC, as we're aware that HIC has a higher engagement with the older Australians. There's also room for competitive pricing and packing a product with value in what is a discretionary marketplace. HIC staff are predominantly employed on contracts, and it's a highly unionised workforce which presents a potential risk for an industrial relations process. However, the staff have a high level of care and compassion for their customers. The particular issue here that we're dealing with is around market share, and HIC has seen a reduced amount of market share by 30% in the last 12 months. Therefore, our opportunity here is around looking to increase market share in that overseas visitor category. HIC has the opportunity to look at its value proposition and consider the customer experience and journey beyond the product. It's an opportunity to bring innovation to the insurance industry by providing an incomparable and compelling product on the market or service on the market, and the opportunity to look at a distinct and engaging, culturally connected message and call to action which compels that international market to buy. There are 4 competitors within the market, and HIC's profit margins are currently good, but there is an opportunity here for HIC to be more competitive.
With profitability and market share being critical for HIC, through the process of the client feedback session, we were able to identify 44 issues towards our process of identifying gaps for the business. Through this process, we were able to identify some emerging clusters, the 2 most dominant clusters being strategy and systems. Further to this process, we undertook a stakeholder analysis so that during our phase of identifying gaps, we were able to effectively assess viable options depending on where the power and the influence is held within the organisation and its ecosystem. The gap analysis process took us to understanding what was HIC's current reality versus what is their desired future state, and therefore being able to identify what are the missing critical pieces towards getting you to that desired future state and realising those aspirations. The stakeholder analysis identified that ownership rests with the executive board. Judging success will be done by customers and shareholders, given it's a publicly listed company. Consultation is definitely to be had with the employees, shareholders, the government, considering it's a highly regulated industry, as well as international agencies, given the market share that is being targeted. Cooperation must be done through the employers, the service providers, channel partners such as universities, travel agencies, and of course the unions, should there be any functional change to key parts of the workforce as a result of the proposed recommendation. It was clear that strategy emerged as a key area where a lot of issues were clustered. Some of these, for example, was that there is definitely a lack of investment in marketing, strategy, campaigning, and promotion by HIC. There are no affiliations with governments or overseas associations to promote or communicate this message. And HIC may not have a value proposition or price that's optimized to impact the attractiveness of their products. So, having said that, we were able to identify the current state being that HIC has not developed adequate systems for capturing both target market and exiting customer data and insights. And their future state is that they are looking for an effective data collection on systems and processes to ensure customer insights, which will form part of the strategy, so they can be able to deliver more effectively better services. So, to close that gap, we believe that the best way to go forward as part of the strategy cluster is to implement effective processes and customer information systems which will ensure greater insights towards best practice service delivery, which will form a large part of their strategy. The first option for the strategy cluster is to identify the most important product features and service delivery which appeals to international clients based on their cultural background, healthcare management priorities, and expectations. HIC and its competitors have limited options for provision of innovative insurance products, but there is, however, opportunity to research and identify and package product features and service options which might appeal to international clients based on their cultural background, healthcare priorities, and expectations. HIC has several strengths in this area in terms of having an engaged workforce, which could provide some anecdotal evidence. HIC also has a broad network of services and service providers to draw information from and opportunities to engage in market research of what its competitors' products within the same target market might be offering. This option, however, is limited by financial and human resource investment, and the information provided further indicates that HIC has limited access to customer data. Furthermore, HIC has identified that due to government regulations, product features are generally standardised and the ability to innovate products and policy is very heavily regulated by APRA. Option 2 is about HIC investing in and implementing marketing, communications, and promotional strategies to be able to reach and penetrate its desired target market. There is an investment in a comprehensive strategy which includes a market action plan and resources to do so, and this can likely increase policy take-up and sales in the desired target market where insurance cover is discretionary and non-mandatory. HIC is a strong and trusted brand within Australia, so we believe it is able to leverage its branding into international markets, as well as underpinning this through the existing engaged workforce, which it has from diverse backgrounds, which can provide those anecdotal evidence for customer and personal insights regarding the interests of this international market. As well as access to information about this target group's needs, live examples and stories of scenarios regarding good and bad experience will also be part of developing an effective marketing strategy. This option does require both financial and human resource investment, which will boost HIC's ability to compel its target market in the purchase of non-mandatory products. The risks do include a lack of market penetration, or the other risk is alternatively compelling the market to buy products, but the customer then seeking competitor alternatives. All in all, HIC's strengths do assist and can inform an effective marketing and communications and promotional strategy to be able to increase and recover from an 8% market share loss in this new international, overseas, and long stay visitor market.
Looking at the Cluster 2 system, we have identified 5 out of the 44 issues. Some of these were 4.8 million visitors is a large market. Ability to engage will depend on customer circumstances. Rationale for seeking cover, no customer data is available. No specific search into target market, no customer insight available. Now, by assessing these issues, we have determined HIC current state, future state, and the gap statement, which for the current state, HIC has not developed adequate systems for capturing both target market and existing customer data and insights. For the future state, we have effective data collection systems and processes are in place to ensure customers and target market is available to use efficiently to deliver best practice service. And the gap statement, implementing effective processes and customers information system which will ensure great insight towards best practice service delivery. Now, option 1, the integrated CRM builds on a business capability and disciplines such as following processes and the work flows through the existing NPL system, which provides the managers with the ability to make shift decisions and coach the performance using deeper customer intel. This also underpins a strong level of employee engagement through readily available feedback to recognize and reward staff when they making difference or providing customer delight. Limitations with this option is the cost to implement, train and execute, which the board will have to sell to the shareholders as a strategic investment to grow sales. Now, the staff attitude and willingness to adapt a new process which creates significant transparency in the customer's service could be affected in a system that feels policed. This could affect morale and disengage staff based on the sense of a lack of trust. This systematic approach also runs the risk of organization becoming data-driven and microsensitive, distracting it and therefore losing its emotional human connection and compassion for its customers. Option 2 provides a broader systematic approach by focusing on the behavioral development and technical training of the workforce to draw out the customer insights to deliver the best practice service delivered model, functional restructuring, and superior customer value as a point of difference for the organization. Since a reward for performance framework already exists within HIC, tweaking the incentive scheme to make back to KPIs, which specifically supports the enhanced customer service model, is a visible approach. Engaging staff in a new purpose and visual through skills investment will further increase the workforce engaged levels some limitations of this option come back to the shareholders in terms of return on investments. Also, HRC may have to consider going out to tender for the procurement of training services and minimum outlays, and getting board approval. Other issues may arise with the option is the potential for job function to change, in which case an industrial related strategy will have to be considered. This may increase HRC's overheads should any changes to be each EBA occurred.
After careful and very thorough gap analysis, it is recommended that HIC implement option 2 to bridge the current gaps and ultimately increase its share of target market. By investing and implementing marketing, communications and promotion strategies which reach the desired target market, HIC will be able to leverage existing strengths and build on its current strong branding within Australia to increase revenue in the overseas visa category. HIC will benefit from differentiating itself through implementation of an effective and culturally diverse marketing, communications and promotion strategy which builds on its existing brand and symbolism in Australia and considers its potential customers through a human resources frame. So what's next for HIC? We strongly advise that your first step in implementing this strategy is to consult your key stakeholders. This may include your board and your shareholders in order to get buy-in. You then need to allocate a marketing budget and then allocate human resources who are skilled and have understanding of this particular market. It's really valuable to conduct market research within that specific target market in which you want to increase your revenue and your market share. You need to review and consider options for digital marketing, and this might include things like using search engine optimizers and looking for local media options, such as using things like WeChat in a Chinese or Asian market. It's also worthwhile considering a referral reward scheme in order to capture a residual market share, that being family members who are visiting someone who is on a long stay visa in Australia and has an existing policy with HIC. There's really an opportunity there to potentially to capture a residual market. And as always, if you're going to implement a strategy, it's really valuable then to monitor and review for the effectiveness of this marketing, communications and promotion plan, and review as necessary. Through implementing this marketing, communications and promotion strategy solution, the gaps we've identified will be bridged and HIC's market share will see growth. This strategy harnesses human resources and the symbolic frame in order to create a better value proposition for HIC, which will set it apart from its competitors.